In the ashes of World War I, the world longed for peace.
The Treaty of Versailles punished Germany. Economy shattered, pride wounded, people desperate. In Germany's despair, a voice rose Krumach, promising unity, strength, and national rebirth. By the 1930s, authoritarian powers rose across Europe and Asia, demanding empire. Their shared vision: expansion, dominance, empire. The world watched and hesitated. September 1st, 1939, Poland was invaded. Britain and France declared war. The world was at war again.
The world plunged into darkness once more.
Blitzkrieg cratered. Tanks, aircraft, and fast troops crushed defenses before reaction.
Poland fell in weeks under the crushing speed of the assault.
By spring 1940, Denmark and Norway were under swift occupation.
Britain now stood alone, facing the storm ahead with determination. A voice carried across the airwaves, a promise that Britain would resist, whatever the cost.
Summer 1940, the Battle of Britain raged in the skies.
The skies thundered with bombers. Cities burned, yet courage endured in the face of fire. London's skies burned with fire, yet the spirit of its people refused to break.
For the first time, the advance was stopped. Britain had endured, and the tide began to shift.
Japan expanded its reach, invading China and casting its eyes towards Southeast Asia and the Pacific.
Standing in Japan's path were the United States and its allies, determined to resist expansion across the Pacific.
June 1941 Clervy. Operation Barbarossa began as millions of soldiers poured into the Soviet Union. Millions of soldiers swept across vast Soviet lands, their advance seemingly unstoppable. Kiev and Smolensk had fallen. German troops now stood at the very outskirts of Moscow. Winter struck with brutal force. Frostbite and starvation crippled the invaders as their advance froze in the snow. The Red Army held firm. Against all odds, the tide of war began to shift. December 7th, 1941, Pearl Harbor shattered a quiet morning, plunging the Pacific into flames. Battleships sank, aircraft were destroyed, and thousands of lives were lost in the flames of Pearl Harbor. The United States declared war on Japan, transforming the conflict into a global struggle. Soon after, Germany declared war on America, binding the fates of Europe and the Pacific into one global struggle. The conflict became truly global, engulfing continents and drawing nations from every corner of the world into war.
By 1942, war burned across continents, engulfing Europe, Africa, Asia, and the Pacific in flames of conflict.
In the Pacific, battles at Midway, the Coral Sea, and Guadalcanal turned the tide, halting Japan's advance.
In North Africa, Axis forces clashed with the Allies, as desert sands became a battlefield of tanks and men.
In Europe, Stalingrad became the war's bloodiest chapter, a city reduced to ruins where every street was a battlefield. The city lay in ruins, yet the Soviets fought street by street, turning rubble into strongholds of resistance. February 1943, the German Sixth Army was surrounded and destroyed, marking a decisive turning point in the East. The dream of conquering the East was broken. From Stalingrad onward, retreat replaced advance. In 1943, the Allies invaded Italy. The regime collapsed, and surrender soon followed. The noose around Germany tightened as Allied forces pressed from the west and the Soviets advanced from the east. June 6, 1944, D-Day. Allied forces stormed the beaches of Normandy, beginning the liberation of Europe.
Thousands of ships crossed the Channel, carrying soldiers of many nations toward the shores of Europe.
Gunfire, courage, and sacrifice filled the air as soldiers pressed forward through fire and fear.
By day's end, Europe's liberation had begun. Allies advanced from the west, Soviets from the east.
Germany was crushed in a giant vice.
Winter 1944 Tilly. Germany launched its last gamble, the Battle of the Bulge, striking through snow and smoke. Caught off guard, the Allies regrouped, held the line, and pushed the German advance back.
The final hope faded into snow and smoke.
April 1945, Kumhulve. The Allies wreathed Berlin's ruins. The heart of the Reich lay in ashes.
Inside a bunker, the Empire's end was near.
April 30th, the dictator ended his life. The empire he built collapsed with him.
A week later, Germany surrendered unconditionally. The war in Europe was over.
Europe was free Tevlal, but devastated.
Even as Europe was freed, Japan still fought fiercely across the Pacific.
Iwo Jima and Okinawa revealed the unimaginable cost of invading Japan. America faced a grim choice: invade Japan or end the war another way. Summer 1945 Terrace. The Manhattan Project unveiled a secret weapon unlike any the world had ever seen. August 6th, Hiroshima. A blinding flash consumed a city.
Tens of thousands vanished in seconds.
August 9th, Nagasaki suffered the same fate.
August 15th, Nagasaki. Japan surrendered. The war was over.
Over 70 million were dead. Key: soldiers, civilians, men, women, and children.
Cities lay in ruins. The Holocaust revealed humanity's darkest depths.
From the ashes rose new powers: the United States and the Soviet Union.
A new conflict began, the Cold War.
World War II reshaped borders, toppled empires, and birthed the modern age.
It showed humanity's worst and its best: courage, resilience, and hope.
We remember not just leaders, but countless ordinary lives lost. Their stories remind us history is about people, not only victory. Though guns fell silent in 1945, echoes still shape our world. From Blitzkrieg to Hiroshima, World War II remains the story of us all. This is Legend Reborn Hub, bringing history back to life. Subscribe for more cinematic journeys.